Fortnite brings us constant updates all the time, providing us with new weapons, new seasons, and gameplay changes. And while many updates are well received by the player base, there are some instances where Epic Games misses the mark. So in today's video, let's discuss the most hated updates in all of Fortnite. The Summer Escape event in Chapter 4 was anticipated by Fortnite players, including myself. Sadly though, the event left many people in the player base disappointed when it launched on July 4th, 2023. When the update came around, all we had to show for it was a decorated POI, the flare gun being unvaulted, and ice cream being unvaulted as well. Back in Chapter 1 Season 3, one of the most controversial weapons in Fortnite was added into the game with the guided missile launcher. The launcher was a great idea on paper, but unfortunately the implementation didn't go the way Epic anticipated. The reason being was that players were able to sit in cover and spam rockets at you over and over with absolutely no risk. Not to mention the item itself was extremely powerful, with the epic version hitting for 75 damage and the legendary version hitting for 77 damage. But the guided missile drama wasn't done yet, as players eventually learned how to ride the rockets, which must have been the straw that broke the camel's back, as it led to Epic vaulting them. And next on the list, we have one of the most controversial items in Fortnite to date. Of course, the item that we're talking about were the B.R.U.T.E.S, also known as the mechs. The main issue that players had was the mechs' powerful firepower, especially with the missile launcher, which ultimately led to insanely quick eliminations and damage to builds. Also, it made it incredibly easy for two players to co-pilot these in solo matches, promoting teaming. And next we have Live at Risky Reels, which was a live event that took place on December 14th that was themed after Star Wars. The event included exciting moments like a sky battle between the Millennium Falcon and TIE fighters, concluding with a new film clip revealed by J.J. Abrams. However though, technical issues created problems for many players, including crashes, login difficulties, and launcher errors. On top of this, the event was generally disliked by players, and considering the potential the event had, the frustration was certainly warranted. And speaking of frustration, let's move on to the next entry on the list with Fortnitemares 2020. Now, Fortnitemares is an event that players always look forward to. We always have some great map decorations, fun new loot pool items, and of course some great new spooky skins to spend our V-Bucks on in the item shop. Fortnitemares 2020 was no different in that regard. However though, there was an addition that the majority of the player base wasn't too happy about. Standard Battle Royale was replaced with a brand new concept. After being eliminated in solos, duos, or squads, you would return to battle as a shadow for your shot at a Nightmare Royale. You joined your fellow shadows to defeat survivors by using your otherworld abilities. This meant that you were faced with enemy players in the match as well as shadows, making it almost impossible to get a victory royale. Many players wish that this was just a Halloween LTM and that it didn't replace Standard Battle Royale for the duration of the event. And that leads us to one of the most broken updates of all time with the Infinity Blade. The Infinity Blade dealt 75 damage per hit and had the ability to destroy structures with ease. Also, the holder of the Infinity Blade had a total health of 400, with 200 health and 200 shield. And as if the item wasn't OP enough, the user gained 1 effective HP per second, received 50 HP for each elimination, and experienced a 30% increase in movement speed. Casual players and professional gamers widely criticized the item after its release, prompting Epic Games to vault the item and causing them to reevaluate their approach to mythic items moving forward. Let's talk about the UFOs that were introduced in Chapter 2 Season 7. The season was loved by the community in the beginning. However though, things took a turn for the worse once players learned how to use the UFOs to their full potential. Players would constantly spam the Plasma Blast, which was incredibly hard to counter while you were being fired at. Not to mention, players were picking up items with the UFOs and ramming them into you, and also using the UFOs to abduct you and throw you into storm. Not to mention the OP combination that we also had in Chapter 2 Season 7 with the railgun and the recon scanner, which practically gave you wall hacks and a guaranteed kill almost every single time. And that leads us to a very unique entry on the list with the entirety of Chapter 2 Season 6. Now during this season, Epic made a very bold move by flipping the loot pool upside down. Weapons off spawn weren't very useful, and the good weapons had to be crafted. Not to mention, snipers were replaced with bows, and we had some insanely overpowered weapons in the loot pool, such as the mythic primal shotgun. Many players, including myself, weren't very happy with all of these changes, and it definitely shows given that Chapter 2 Season 6 is one of the lowest ranked seasons in the community. So there you have it, the worst Fortnite updates of all time. Let me know down in the comments below what you think of these updates, and until next time, as always, take care and stay twisty.